I think my parents taught us that we have to stand up and be strong for what we believe in. And, you know, we knew God, we believed in God, and you don't back down from that. You stand strong, and I think we saw that in their lives, and that's how it was. So when we went to school, I don't remember my mom saying, you need to be strong or doing anything, but just in my heart, I'd already learned that I need to be who I really am, and I'm a Christian, and I love the Lord, and He's real, and that's what people need to see, and that's how I need to live my life. And
they set the example, they set a foundation of what, this is how you do things, this is how you don't do things. Mm-hmm. And then it's just, here, go, and live your life, you know, it's...
Don't you remember, our driveway is like a fourth of a mile long, so every morning when we have to go out to the bus, it was like running down the driveway, running. And Mom would always make us windmill. And so we're always all late. I think we inherited that somehow. Running down, but Mom would always yell, do as unto the Lord, and I can't remember. That started with Jill. I must have graduated. Do good work. It must have been me. It's do good work. But there's what's the verse in Colossians that do everything as unto Christ. Yeah, but she would always yell that. I'd be like, why do you have to yell that every morning? That's all I can hear all day when I just want to gossip with my friends or whatever. Do as unto the Lord. I'm sorry. Or like a slack on your homework. Do it to the... Oh, yeah.
Our dad used to work for Culligan, and then he decided to buy his own business. And I remember for like months, I mean, I was like pretty young, like in grade school or something, but I remember that they just prayed about it and prayed about it and prayed about it. And it was like a really big secret. Like we couldn't tell anybody because he was going to quit his old job and buy this new business, which is a big, you know, financial and like for the whole family. Like it's kind of it was a big deal. I just remember them like praying about it and just like really, really like taking their time and like thinking and seeking the Lord and everything. And also maybe like a year ago, like when we were going to sell our house, they decided they wanted to sell the house, and it was just, everything was really like, take your time, you know, see what the Lord wants to do, pray about it. Like it was just, I just feel like in practical situations like that, it's always been an example of, you don't need to rush anything. You don't need to be scared. You just need to trust and wait for an answer, and it will work out.
There was a situation my mom was kind of upset about a family member, and not one of us. It doesn't have anything to do with these people. That's why. But either way, I was just like scared on the phone. I was like, well, you need to do this, and you need to do this, and I think that everybody around my mom and my dad was, you know, kind of telling him the same thing, like, you need to intervene, you need to do this and this and this, and I'm just like, well, you got to do something, you know, it's better than so-and-so dying, or, like, you know, for me, it's, like, scary, and I can't, like, you know, you can't hold on to something, but, my mom was just like, no, like, you're not trusting the Lord, you're not trusting that, you know, everything's happening in His time, and it's just not going to work out for us to do whatever we need to do right now, and we just have to wait. And Dad owns his own business, so he's busy all the time and kind of doing a lot of the stuff himself, but he used to get up at like 5:30 in the morning every day and make sure that he had time every day, because if you work a full day and then you come home to a family and everything, sometimes that time with God just disappears. So he would make sure that it was really early before everything got started. So
I mean, I think it's hard having this many siblings, but I always felt loved and cared for, like, uniquely, and I feel like that's hard to do with this many siblings, but I think I always felt loved and cared for every day. So.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that they tried to always show how they cared was just, in loving Christ, is telling us how to love Christ and how to, you know, as somebody was saying earlier about always telling us, well, did you pray about that? Did you go back to God about that? And everything that we ever try to say, Mom, this is crazy, and it's always, well, what's the right thing to do in this? I mean, she's always teaching and always correcting. And
what does the Bible say?
What does the Bible say? My husband, even when we were dating, my parents wouldn't let me do things when I was in college, and he'd be like, you're in college. Your parents are 800 miles away. Why are you obeying your mother? She told me I can't do it. I can't do it, you know. And
She's gonna find out.
and I'm gonna hear about it.
Spanking.
I know, but you know, years later, you know, my husband looks at that and goes, "Wow, you know, I'm glad that you did listen to your parents." And it wasn't that we were going to do something terribly wrong or anything, but just listening to my parents. They were the authority over at me at that time, and I just tell him that, and he'd be like, "You're crazy, or why is that so?" You know, he grew up in a different place, it was just different, and now he really appreciates the fact that, you know, obedience, and now I'm obedient to him when I need to be, and obedient to God, and I know that he appreciates that in my life.
I just feel like I've seen so many, like, of my peers and, like, my roommates last year, and just, they have no discipline or authority in their lives at all, and they're miserable, you know, and no one's telling them what to do, no one has expectations for them, and it's just, like, I feel like so many people think love is just, you know, being joyful and caring, and not that other side, or the discipline and the caring enough to stop you from doing things that are harmful, or
Showing you the right way.
yeah, and I just think that's been, like I didn't notice it, like, at the time, like, definitely in high school, I wasn't like, yes, my parents are grounding me again, but it just, it makes, like, it plays out into,
Once you see it in other people in
Yeah.
life and them not having that, you think, wow, I'm glad I learned that as a kid and younger, and you know, it's just so obvious when you see other people with no discipline, or who don't know how to listen to authority, and you know, their mouth goes off in the middle of something, and you know, they ruin this job, or they, you know, burning bridges behind them. I don't know how many times my mom told me that, don't burn bridges, but just, you know, just knowing the right thing to do.
I think we could all say of our parents is that they're very hardworking and they're very dedicated, and that in it of itself is maybe not a spiritual quality, but when you add godly character and you know, your own relationship with God to that, I think that is something that I would definitely want to pass on to my kids. And we see, Paul and I, my husband and I, we see just how useful and how much of a blessing we can be to the church and to other families and to things through that. And that when I see in other people that they don't have that, I feel like they're missing something, and they're missing a benefit and a blessing that they could have if they knew what that was like.
I think what I want to pass on to my children is just the personal relationship with Christ and their desire to be in the Word. And I think that's kind of even a newer thing that they've just really strengthened in their lives in the last years since I graduated from high school and things. But it's so sincere, and it's about God. It's not about, you know, we throw out all the religious garbage or traditions, the unnecessary stuff, and it's about a relationship with Christ, following Christ, loving Christ, and going back to the Bible to hear what He's got to say to us. And I think that's very strong in their lives, and I think that's what I definitely want to pass on to my kids.